Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Syrian government forces capture new areas along the border with Jordan and are on the verge of reaching a main crossing between the two countries. The United States and China slapped tit-for-tat custom duties on $34 billion worth of each other's imports. And Russia and China say they are committed to save the Iran nuclear deal. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. Syrian state media said government forces have captured new areas along the border with Jordan and are on the verge of reaching a main crossing between the two countries. Central military media said today that government forces now control most of the towns and villages on the eastern side of southern Daraa province and should capture the Nasib border crossing within hours. Syrian government forces launched a wide offensive on June 19th to retake Daraa and the nearby Quneitra region that borders the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. The attack has displaced some 330,000 people and left dozens dead. The Syrian troops are now about 3 kilometers from Nasib border crossing near Jordan. U.S. stock index futures dipped today after the United States and China slapped tit-for-tat duties on $34 billion worth of each other's imports, triggering what Beijing called the largest-scale trade war. While U.S. goods to China, including autos and agricultural products, would face 25% tariffs, Washington imposed duties on Chinese products such as motor vehicles, computer disk drives, parts of pumps, valves, and printers. President Donald Trump warned the United States may ultimately target over $500 billion worth of Chinese goods, but global markets remained broadly confident, though concerns about the conflict escalating capped appetite for risks. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said today that Russia and China were interested in saving the Iran nuclear deal. Lavrov made his comments at a meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister and State Councillor Wang Yi in Vienna. Lavrov said the situation is complicated, but they are committed, just like China and other participants of this agreement, to international law and the decisions of the UN Security Council, which made this plan a part of international law. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said last month that he appreciated the efforts by Beijing and Moscow to maintain the nuclear deal. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in Pyongyang today to press Kim Jong-un for a more detailed commitment to denuclearization following the North Korean leader's historic summit with President Donald Trump. Pompeo was greeted in the North Korean capital by Kim's right-hand man Kim Yong-chol and Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho. Since meeting Kim in Singapore last month, Trump has been bullish about hopes for peace, boasting that the threat of nuclear war is over, but the statement the leaders signed was short on clear commitments. Pompeo has been tasked with negotiating a plan that Washington hopes would involve Kim declaring the extent of his nuclear weapons program and agreeing a timetable for it to be dismantled. Thai rescuers pulled 28 bodies from waters off the coast of the holiday island of Phuket after a tourist boat went down in heavy seas with dozens of Chinese passengers on board. The dead were found drifting face down in the water, still wearing life jackets, several kilometers from where the Phoenix sank after being hit by 5-meter-high waves in a storm. One survivor, a Chinese woman, was rushed to hospital in Phuket, according to an AFP reporter at the scene, after she was found several kilometers from the boat, having spent the night in the water. The 3-decker boat was carrying 105 passengers, mostly Chinese tourists, when it sank. The death toll is rising from a heat wave that began in eastern Canada nearly a week ago, and officials in Quebec province say at least 33 people have died. Officials say the heat wave is the worst to hit Quebec in decades, and police and fire departments have sent officers out to check on residents in many neighborhoods. Many residents live without air conditioning in their homes, and health officials are telling people to drink plenty of water and check on their neighbors. Still to come in our news bulletin. Oman Traditional Music Center organizes a workshop on a type of Arab Hakami singing.
عبق فاح بين جنباتها، فنفثت سلاما برائحة لبانها. حلقت عاليا نحو السماء، فنقشت بأبجدياتها تاريخا جميلا، وبكرمها أمست مضربا للأمثال. مهرجان صلالة السياحي 2018 من 10 من يوليو إلى 25 من أغسطس.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A number of wilayas of the Sultanate witnessed rains with various intensity, which led some wadis and their tributaries to overflow. These are pictures of the rainfall in the governorate of Zahra. Spreading the culture of voluntary work among all segments of the society and translated into tangible achievements were topics discussed at the Dhofar Voluntary Work Forum. The event was organized at the Women's Association in Salalah. It included a number of work papers that talked about public and private sectors in supporting voluntary works. It also focused on the role of women in raising awareness about its importance in the development of individuals and the whole society. Oman Traditional Music Center of Sultan Qaboos Higher Center for Culture and Sciences at the Diwan of Royal Court organized a workshop on a type of Arab Hakami singing. The event came within the context of a program to build the musical capabilities and skills of Omani young talents. The participants got acquainted with Hakami singing, which is a type of Yemeni arts. At the conclusion ceremony of the workshop, some participants performed different songs of this traditional art. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Low clouds and fog late at night and early morning are expected over the coasts of the Arabian Sea and Sea of Oman. Winds will be southeasterly light to moderate. These will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.45 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Syrian government forces capture new areas along the border with Jordan and are on the verge of reaching a main crossing between the two countries. The United States and China slapped tit-for-tat custom duties on $34 billion worth of each other's imports. And Russia and China say they are committed to save the Iran nuclear deal. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.